I want to ask you a few questions about just the state of the game on the court. What are some of the
Say it again.
the state of the game on the court?
Okay.
Like, what are some of the biggest differences you see with college basketball now than opposed to when you coach as far as style of play?
Speed, athleticism, decision making at a pace that's incredible. Defensively, how the demands to keep a kid in front of you. Because you can't use your hands, you can't, that kind of stuff. But strategy-wise, the game is still fundamentals. And the teams have all the things I just mentioned and are fundamentally sound. They're the ones that win every year or have a chance to win.
As far as how you coached and the style you coach, in today's game, what would you change about how you coached then to how you would coach now?
We were lucky we had some kids like this, though. One of our kids just went in the Hall of Fame, Nick Galis, is a great player in Europe. And Greg Tynes was another kid that could play at that speed, Glenn Mosley. So we had kids, maybe not as many as they have on each team now.
Right.
So we got up and down, we pressed. We did a lot of things John did at Georgetown. So it was like an advent of kids that could do those things. And they pushed you into doing those type of defenses and quick hitters and taking advantage of individual skill levels. So that had started a little bit more than the motion offense or all the screening, cutting, bump.
As far as the influence of AAU, it's every time someone even mentions AAU, it's such a either I hate it or I love it. How do you think the influence has been on the college game of that style being different than from a typical high school game?
Well, you can't negate every AAU team because there are serious guys that contribute a great deal of time and effort to helping kids. So it's tainted by some maneuvering and some unattractive things, and maybe guys who just get in tournaments.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys do fundamentals at AAU practices. I don't think that happens in a lot of AAU gyms. It says let's go play. So I think there's good and bad, and the bad is usually the outsiders, not the kids.
Yes.
That influence them, and they have followers sometimes that make it hard for a kid and his family. So it's like you can't give it a brush, a blanket, say it's terrible, but there's some unattractive things about it. How do they control it? I don't know.
And last, if there was something that you would change about college basketball now, either rule or whatever the case may be, what would it be?
Wow, I have to think about that. It would probably to figure out how you can make life a little easier for the player. And by that I don't mean money.
Right. Yeah.
But I do mean money. do you know what I mean? Like like for example, I honestly think the problem with saying we're going to pay players. You now have to pay the women as well.
Yes.
In all sports. So I don't think most schools can't afford that. Exactly. Maybe Ohio State and Texas and those guys, right?
Yeah.
But I do think if they could take some of the money and each year the kid stays in school, you put that money aside. And when he graduates, or if he leaves after his sophomore year, he's no longer eligible, that family or he gets that 10 or 20 or whatever, just some percentage. And I don't know if you can do that without injuring the other sports, but that's something I would like to see happen. I think that would be maybe almost like a kid going to West Point or Annapolis. They graduate, they've got a little amount of money that's been put aside for them to start their careers. And I don't think that hurts anybody.
Awesome.